Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of CLX Foundry Live. I'm your host, DJ Blue PDX, and joining me live from our assembly place and our studio in Wichita, Kansas. It's none other than our lead technical experts, Paul Steffens, and the man with the hair. It is Zach Killingsworth, our master builder. Hi, guys.
Hello.
What's going on?
At least until Saturday. Then we
At least,
again.
There we go. What?
Yeah. No
Oh, did you do no shave November?
I'm trying to just, let it grow out. It's not doing well. Paul's looks better.
I don't do well with that one.
I trimmed it a little bit.
We've got a bunch of new people in here, especially on the TikTok side. Hello. We got Turtle660 says, I got my PC from you guys. It was fire. I can't wait to look at some of these more comments. But first, let's look at what we're going to be doing for our friend Ethel over in South Carolina. We've got a great build for Ethel. So let's check this out. Paul?
All right, so starting out with our processor, we've got the Intel Core i5-14600KF. To cool that, we've got the CLX Quench 240mm AIO in black. For our motherboard, we've got the MSI B760 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi. And for our memory, we've got 2 sticks of XPG 16GB DDR5 5600 speed in RGB, so a total of 32 gigs of RAM in this build. For our storage drive, we've got a single 1TB Team Group NVMe MP33 M.2 drive. You can see it down there at the bottom. And for our video card, we've got RTX 4060 8GB from Gigabyte. For our case, we've got the NV5 in black. And for our fans, we've got 8 of our Game DS Aeolus M2s also in black. So these will match the case pretty nicely. For our power supply, we've got the Kratos M1 750 watt 80 plus gold from Game DS. So this is a non-modular power supply. It does have an RGB fan in it as well.
Nice. Sounds like a plan. Just a real quick thing. I want to just get through all of these comments coming in here. We've got TikTok. We've got Turtle in the house. Atlanta Exotic or ATL Exotic. Can you get a PC? I don't know. If you can, if you order one. So just, yes, welcome in everyone. How's it going? We got Bunny in the house. Thank you for the follow. Jess Spartan. Zeno. Jess Spartan says, where's my build? I don't know. Where did you leave it? Yes, there we go. Now, over on the purple side, I see we got Cosworth, G-Code, Riptide in the house. Yes, hello, Kensu. Been a minute, my dude. Welcome in. Hello, OG Plush Goddess. I love it. Let's see here. Freak Mustache. Howdy from Kansas. Y'all see the rumored Intel Arc Battle Mage GPU about to drop is supposed to be compared to the RTX 4070 Super. Interesting. We'll definitely check that out. Over on the Kick side, we've got Concerned. Hello, Concerned. What's going on? Glad to have you in here. Joe425. Yeah, buddy. Was able to build my first PC from watching your streams. Hey, that is what we love to hear. That's fantastic. I dig it. I dig it a lot. All right. Now, don't forget, because a lot of times people do that. There may be questions or terms. There may be terms or things we say that you might need questions for. So if you have a question or you hear something you're not familiar with, a term or otherwise, you just go ahead and ask. Feel free.
DJ, I would like to throw in, this was a request to have built on stream, so hopefully that person is in the chat. Is it you, OG Plush Goddess? I hope so.
You ordered this PC? Hello, Ethel. How are you? OG Plush Goddess. Welcome to the show. Yay! I'm excited. This will be fun. Okay, now, jumping back to questions, we got one coming in from TikTok. Actually, to start with the board real fast. This is, of course, a B760 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. It's got some pretty sick elements on it that we're going to take a look at. But let's first start with our I/O panel. On the back side at the very top, we've got our keyboard and mouse classic or legacy connector. You've got multiple USB 2s right there. Obviously, your display port, then your HDMI. Then we've got some USB 3.2 Gen 2s right below or to the next of our Ethernet port. You've got 2 more USB 2s, and then you've got your USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C, which is awesome. Your Wi-Fi right there, just below that. And then you've got a full array of audio ports, and this is how it's going to start. The one thing that's going to be interesting to talk about is the little thing that Zach is holding. Now, Zach, would you like to talk about how violent these things are and how you properly prep one to ensure that you don't screw up your board?
This is my prison shank. That's why I'm wearing gloves, is because the edges are very sharp. And what we want to do on I/O shields that are detached from our motherboards is we notice that on our LAN port here, we have a little bit of a bigger tab. We want to fully push that toward the back and get it flat. That will make it so that when we install our motherboard into the case, it doesn't accidentally go into our port and cause some damage.
And do be careful with those edges. They are very, very sharp. I want to jump over to a question that was given a couple minutes ago by Dayton Steinmeier over on TikTok. It says, what do you think of the Radeon RX 6600 Challenger?
Yeah, that's a good card. I believe that is the ASRock version of the card, if I remember right. Yeah, it's a good mid-tier card.
I like the Challenger. I built one the other day. It's
really
nice.
We've sold a lot of that model.
Nice. All right, now first things up, we're going to have to give this board a brain. By the way, our this is for OG Plush Goddess, so super jazzed. We're going to build it with the viewer in stream. That's cool. So, well, you bought a CLX Horus NV5, obviously, and then Plush Goddess added a CPU as an Intel Core i5 14600KF. Now, that's a lot of letters behind a processor. So, Paul, what can you tell me about the processor, and what are the difference between all of those letters?
Sure. So, starting out with the processor, it's a 14-core, 20-thread processor. So, we've got 6 performance cores that have hyper-threading on there, and then 8 efficiency cores as well. It's got a base speed of 3.5, and it will boost all the way up to 5.3. So, a really great gaming processor here. What that K means is that it is unlocked, so you can overclock this if you had the desire to. And the F means it does not have onboard video. Now, that's not important to us because we have this video card that we're going to be using to get our video out. But if you were building a system without a video card, you would want to make sure that that processor does have onboard video so that you can get something out of your monitor.
Nice. And then Zeno asks, do you all have good running PCs for a cheap price? Or like, what's the best cheap price do you all have? I'll be honest, I would say your best bet is to head on over to clxgaming.com, and you'll notice on the left-hand side, once you get to that little menu option, where you can choose the ready to ship or our RTS section. That gives you a good idea of our pre-builds that are also built right here in-house. They're tested and everything, so definitely check that out. Speaking of things to check out what he just pointed at. That is going to be some pre-laid thermal paste. Zach, what's that do?
So thermal paste transfers the heat that our processor units create, and it transfers it into our heat distribution device. We can either have heat sinks, all-in-ones, or liquid coolers.
Liquid coolers. What do you mean by liquid cooler?
Open loops.
Is there more than one type of liquid cooler?
Yeah, we've got open loops, all-in-ones, which is what we have here, and heat sinks. Heat sinks are usually big blocks of metal fins and a couple fans, and the heat will get transferred up through some pipes, and then on your liquid cooled units like all-in-one or open loop, it's very similar. You have a pump on and a radiator and some hoses, and inside is some solution that helps keep everything cool.
Nice. Awesome. We're gonna get that on there, and what Zach is doing now is I guess routing. Well, you know what, Zach, why don't you explain what you're doing, and then we'll get to Concern's question over here on Kick.
Yes, so what I'm doing now is because this all-in-one only has a fan header on it, it doesn't have any RGB on it as well. I am subtly hiding my cables so that it sits underneath. We don't see any of that cable along our motherboard. All we really see is just that blowout right there. So it makes it look real clean and nice. We don't have to have anything folded over the backside of the board.
Nice. All right, what's up? Hashim is in the house. Hello, my boy. Concern back over in the green side said, is the i7 12700KF and the RTX 3060 V2 OC 12 gig a good pair?
Yeah, that's a pretty good pair. I would say if you're wanting to save some money, you could go with an i5 of the same generation or whatever generation you want, and you wouldn't really miss out on much. But going with the i7 and the 3060, that leaves you room in the future when you want to upgrade. You can upgrade your video card.
I'm missing my chapstick.
Gotta have that this time of year.
Yes. All right. So the other thing you need in this is to make the brain work. And the way we do that is we're going to get some RAM. Now for this RAM, we've got two 16 gig sticks of XPG DDR5 5600 in black, and it's RGB. So it's going to light up real nicely. When you're putting these in, you want to make sure that you are installing them in slot 2 and then slot 4. And you don't have to do it in that order, but 2 and 4 are the first things. If you get 4 sticks, then you can use 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. But always space them out. Paul, why is that?
So we use slots 2 and 4 because that's what the motherboard manual tells us to do. So most motherboards are pretty consistent on this. If there's 4 slots and 2 sticks, you're going to be using slots 2 and 4. Those are the slots the CPU looks to first when reading memory, so that's why we use those. But if you are ever concerned or have questions on where to put your memory, just look at the manual. It will tell you.
All right. Question from Wild253 over here on TikTok says, what do you think about the i5-12400F?
Good middle of the road gaming processor. If you want to play most things in like 1080 and stuff like that, it's not a bad choice.
Yeah, I like it. Guys, welcome, and don't forget, if you like what you're seeing, hit that follow button. You can also join us on Thursdays, just not this Thursday, for our other show. Right now, we're taking a look at this little bitty stick of gum. It is a 1 terabyte. Wow, come on, Deej. It is 1 terabyte Team Group MP33 NVMe M.2. This is a type of solid state drive, but it's not the only type of solid state drive. Paul?
So there's a couple different types of solid state drives. Like you mentioned, DJ, we have 2.5 inch, which you don't really see that much anymore, and then M.2, which is definitely the most popular right now. Both of those are going to be significantly faster than a traditional hard disk drive. So you definitely want to have at least your operating system on some sort of solid state drive so that your boot times are very fast. And then if there's room on that drive, you can put games on there and not have any load screens.
Nice. Speaking of things that you want to load into it, you want to talk about real fast what you just locked onto that motherboard before I go to OG Plush's question?
So that was our heatsink that covers up our NVMe. Not every motherboard has a heatsink above its NVMe's. It's just a way to make them look a little bit cleaner, a little bit more overall aesthetically pleasing looking at a board that has some nice covers on it rather than everywhere. But yeah, I really like this a lot. Easy to get to.
All right. So OG Blush Goddess, this is their computer, says, I'm a streamer and content creator and gamer, and this is my first PC. Is this a good starter PC for streaming and content creating?
Heck
yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. This is a great place to start if you're getting into all that. So you've got 32 gigs of RAM, which is more than what I usually run, so that's great for content creation and recording and stuff like that. And then obviously your processor and video card are solid as well.
So the only thing that I would say, I have a couple qualifiers here. Are you PC gaming or console gaming? Is this just going to be used for streaming, or is it going to be used for streaming and gaming? Because there's a difference. Some people are dual PC systems. I'm a dual PC streamer. So I've got my gaming PC there. My that's an Intel. I've got my AMD streaming PC down here. It doesn't take a whole lot to stream technically. As long as it's working, it's working. But yeah, if you're going to be PC gaming and streaming at the same time, just make sure you're doing it at such a point so that the game isn't impeding upon the software's ability to encode fast enough to send it out to whatever platform you're on. I'm assuming it's Twitch. Yay. Let's see here. Motherboard. Wait, what? There we go. Backing up here to TikTok. We've got what do you suggest for an RTX 4060 to run the best? Good question.
So for processor to pair with the 4060, I would start looking at the Intel i5s or the Ryzen 5s. That's where I would start. Any of those is going to be a good fit. And then if you've got room in your budget and you want to go higher end, you can do that.
Goose 1500 asks 7900 XT and Ryzen 5 7600X. Is that a good combo?
Yeah, that's a pretty good combo. That's a pretty powerful video card. So that's going to run great right now. But when it is time to upgrade, I would probably look at upgrading the processor.
And then Stephen Bale mentioned plus the Sapphire 7800 XT. Oh, wait, Stephen, hold on. I missed that right there. It says, I'm building my first PC and plan on using a Ryzen 5 7600X with an MSI B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi plus a Sapphire 7800 XT. That sounds pretty awesome, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a great build. You're going to be able to crush everything at 1080 and even play some stuff at 2K. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Monarch Dad mentions, I play on a PS5. I'm looking to stream the PS5 to socials. That's a decent spec to do so. Or what's a decent spec to do so?
You're going to stream the PS5 to socials.
So I'm going to be very honest on this one. So obviously you're going to need a PC to do this because you're not going to get out to all the socials via just the console. So your streaming PC needs to be able to handle the input, but also your internet speed, your upload speed needs to be able to handle multiple outputs. So if I'm streaming to everybody, like to all platforms for DJWPDX, I know I need at least 15 to 20 because it also includes all of my game network. I mean, I have a 40 megs up system and a gig down, so it's a thing. But your other thing that you want to look at is your capture card. We carry Elgato's. I personally use Avermedia's, but you have some options, and I would definitely take a look at those and see what you think is going to lean towards what you want to do. Let's see. Super excited over here, OG Plus. Yeah. Cloverwind. No. Yes. Clover. I don't know. Do you think that Ryzen 7 7700X with an RTX 4070 Super for $1,300 is a steal? Question mark.
Sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Yeah. And then we've got CRD says Ryzen 5 3600X and a 3060 SSC 12 gig motherboard suggestions for PC gaming.
3600.
Yeah, I mean that's
like
depends on what you're doing.
Streaming on one.
Yeah, sounds like a solid 1080p gamer right there.
Now, OG Plus Goddess mentions, asked a question, what's the care process for the PC? So if you want to do, usually they respond better if they are in counseling on Thursdays, but definitely get their exercise in on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. If you feed them only once a month, but not after midnight, they shouldn't kill you.
At least 1 hour of sunlight. No, so with this PC right here, there's not going to be a lot that you have to do. We're going to be setting this up in a positive pressure environment, which we'll probably go over here in a little bit. So there shouldn't be much dust getting into the machine. But if you look, you've got a dust filter here at the bottom. Now you can pull this out the back, but I'm just going to do it out the front because it's right here. So this comes out. So it'll just slide out like this. You know, you probably only have to do this, I don't know, once every 6 months. You're not going to have to do it that often, but this is what you can wipe down and clean, and it just slides back in here. There's some grooves that we'll probably flip the PC over before I can get this back in to line up. Yeah, we'll do that in a little bit. Yeah.
True Defiance TV says the fan cables are giving me anxiety, right? Question from Goose, why do people hate on X670 motherboards so much?
What?
I don't know. I haven't heard much hate on those, but I stay off those.
You're crazy.
We ignore the haters.
Yeah, they seem to work pretty well.
Someone
Let's
probably had a
see.
bad
Over on the-
experience one time
I touch
and got
every
very loud.
motherboard they
Oh.
give me. The big ones
You
and the
make
little
it feel
ones.
comfortable like it's their child. His brother's name is George.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, a movie that came on the other day that I haven't seen in a while, but I've seen a bajillion times is So I Married an Axe Murderer. Has anybody else seen it?
So many of those things.
It's hilarious. Right? Kid, bounce! No! You actually eat haggis? No, I think most Scottish food is created on a dare. It's so good.
I don't even know what classifies as Scottish food.
Haggis. I would highly recommend you go to your local butcher and ask for a haggis.
How many haggises
Then you
did I
just
ask for?
It's Haggai.
Just
in the
one.
plural.
One will feed the whole family, but you need to. I believe you need to boil it first and then cook it, or maybe it's bake it then boil it. You'll have to look up the directions, and then it will serve an entire. Yes, it is definitely full of meat.
When do you boil meat?
Brats, bro.
I'm going to be honest. Hold on. Let me look up the instructions for cooking a haggis. All right, AI, let's get this together. How to
if they don't sell it at Buc-ee's, we're not buying.
a haggis.
Sounds like we're about to get a Buc-ee's, right?
Yes.
All right, so
Close to
Kansas City,
You can-
Buc-ee's.
you can.
Brisket, hit 'em.
Yeah, what up? Hello. So where'd it go? Why is it over like this?
Don't they all yell brisket on the block or something like that?
So
When
good.
the fresh brisket gets brought out.
Wow, that was loud. So to cook a haggis, very clear. You need to preheat your oven to 180 to 190 degrees Celsius. You need to remove the haggis from its packaging, but keep the casing on it. You wrap it tightly in aluminum foil, and that's if you're going to use it in the oven. You can place an oven-proof dish or add about an inch of water to the dish so you got some steam in there, and then cook it for 45 to 75 minutes. Remove from oven and carefully slice open. If you do it in a microwave, which I highly would not recommend doing anything like this in a microwave, but you can.
Air
Or you can do it in a
fryer.
crock pot. Crock pots work better. I don't know that you could actually cook it in an air fryer. It needs the
Anything cooks in an air fryer.
steam. Now, do you want to know what haggis is?
Nope. I assume
was
it's something
looking
on
it
the
up on
lines
Google,
on the
but
delicious etiquette.
The definition has more words than I don't know. It says a sheep's pluck. But I don't know what that
Haggis is a Scottish dish traditionally made from sheep's heart, liver, and lungs, minced with oatmeal, suet, herbs, spices, and seasonings, and packed into a natural casing, which is usually the sheep intestines.
Oh, yum. I know what we're going to make
Again,
for Thanksgiving.
most Scottish cuisine is based on a dare.
That's why they started golfing.
Bet you can't use all those parts in one dish. Oh, really? Hold my ale.
I'll make a turkey haggis for Thanksgiving.
Let's see here.
It's a good.
We've got a question. So CRD wants to know, the real question is AIO versus tower coolers.
I'm going to pick AIO, but all you air cooler enjoyers might fight me on that.
Come
Air
at me,
coolers
bro.
are fine. I just think the AIOs you get better cooling, and they're so easy to install now. Like before, I might have picked air coolers because they were just less labor intensive. But these AIOs, some of them are even easier than the air coolers. So
Yeah, but Paul, I have two 140 millimeter fans on top of my processor. Isn't that cool? The metal from the heatsink is literally touching the glass of the case. It's that big. It's so cool.
it's huge.
It's so cool.
Cara Bears Gaming Dan asks, how big of a build do you have?
We got
Boom.
some big ones. If we're talking about us
Yeah,
as a
we got some
company,
biggies.
we got some giant ones.
Oh
If you
my
want a
goodness,
giant
yes.
one, you can go with like a Fantex Elite for your
Elite.
case. Case is probably too big
That
for
thing
this
is
camera to get it if it was on the
giant.
table.
Yep.
So you can fit
But it's a
like
beast.
6 fans in there.
Yeah. All right. So back over to TikTok? What's a good budget CPU? My GPU is a 1660 Super.
I would start looking at an Intel i5 or a Ryzen 5. That's where I would start out. But the 3s are good as well. I would just start with 5.
Stephen Beal. Hello, Stephen. What's going on, my man? Says, is the Be Quiet 1200 watt power good power?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We use them.
those.
Yeah.
It probably comes with a fancy power cable for the wattage of the power supply, so you definitely want to make sure you do not lose that cable because it's not the same as all the other power cables. But they're good.
Monarch Dad mentions, I love corned beef and it's boiled with Guinness and stuff.
Oh.
Yes, it is, and that's
Oh.
actually it's beautiful. USB device over current status detected. Do I need to replace my motherboard?
USB device over current status. Over current. Maybe. Have you tried a different port?
Xbox has a
Excellent
handheld?
question. They're supposedly working on it in theory.
Supposedly
But,
Switch
yeah.
2 is coming out. Should be pretty cool.
And Cosworth was mentioning, said Sony might actually be making a comeback to the handheld market proper at some point. They're currently in the R&D process with one of the intentions of competing with the Nintendo and Xbox. And
You said Game Boy's making a comeback?
the handheld market,
Oh,
like
I need
as in
to
coming out with
listen
new PSP / PS Vita.
I thought you said like Game Boys were coming back. I'm like, dude, that'd be sweet.
I don't know if it's legit, but they were saying Nintendo Switch 2 with Pokemon Gen 2 remakes, so that's right up my alley.
Shucky ducky. BNS Bijay Singh. Hello, how's it going? I'm just calling you BNS. BNS. I see what you did there. There we go. You don't like handhelds? Well, see, and here's the thing. So back in the mid 2000s, I definitely spent some time couch hopping and a couple times where I was just, you know what, I'm camping in the car for a bit. It was not my proudest moment. Oh. But the one thing I had that I could do was plug in my PSP and the audio into my car stereo, so I could play the games in full surround sound. And I liked to play horror games on my PSP at night, and my car probably from the outside sounded like there was murder happening constantly, because what I loved playing at night was Silent Hill. Yeah, it was nuts. I loved it. We're going to have to talk on your stream. Going to have a talk on your stream? Yes, probably. Absolutely. So Hashira Jules mentions that I disconnected the USB ports and it still won't let me in the BIOS or Windows. Ooh. Says 0 mouse, 0 keyboard.
Sounds like something shorted out, that you could always try reinstalling your motherboard drivers. If you just go to the manufacturer's website of that motherboard and type in your model, that you'll find a drivers tab or some sort of software stuff like that, and you could reinstall those drivers. That would be probably the first thing I would do, but I'm not guaranteed that it's going to fix it.
Temperance is like, how many times did cops knock on your car window? Honestly, twice. And both times were two completely different people, and they're both like, how are you doing that? I said, well, it's a PSP, and so I just have it plugged into my car battery, and I've got the sound. And I think he's like, that is brilliant. I never would have thought of that. I was like, well, you know, that's what I'm here for. Always here to help, sir. Let's see here.
I picked this spot because I knew it'd be the best spot to play this game, because it's super scary.
What's a good CPU and GPU combo to handle PS5 gaming stream? Okay. I'll say this. My streaming PC is a Ryzen 5 3600X. It has 16 gigs of DDR3, maybe DDR4 RAM, and it's on a hybrid drive with a 1070 and then the AverMedia 4K 2.1. That's what it needs, and I can stream in 1080p easy, and I still get the pass-through of 144 FPS. So it doesn't take a ton to stream. It's more about your bandwidth and memory.
Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how.
How many times? Oh yeah.
Slide in.
Yes, in theory. Let's see here. Steven asks, any recommendations for my building specs to add for streaming?
What was Steven's building specs? I don't remember the specs in the chat. I scrolled.
Cosworth does mention, I've had the issue of no keyboard and mouse, and it's 9 times out of 10 because my drivers have gone bye-bye. There we go.
Drivers is always a good place to start if you've tried the old turning it off and turning it back on again thing.
Now, speaking of drivers, I want to talk about what drives all these fans, because we've got a ton of fans in here, brought to you by our friends over at GameDS. It's GameDS Aeolus M2s. We love the subtlety of these. Well, they're bright. But what he's holding in his hand is, of course, the controller for the fans by GameDS. Zach, how does this work, and how many can fit in one?
Oh, man.
That's a good question.
That is a very good question, DJ. I don't know if I'm at liberty to discuss my NDA right now, but, on this one can hold 8. In the future, we might have one that can hold more. I'm super excited.
You heard it here first, people.
You heard it. If you were in the store or if you were in the building when I got in the building, you definitely heard it. I was losing my mind. But yes, we can hook up to 8 fans onto this fan controller, have them all powered, have them all synced up in a nice line. The way I like to plug them in on all genres of fans in with the hub is I like to start with my exhaust fan being fan 1. then fan 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many you have. It helps keep it to where if you have any troubleshooting issues, like a fan is glowing but not spinning, or spinning and not glowing, then it's easy to come back to the point of connection and be like, oh yeah, that's just not plugged in all the way, instead of having to go through all of your wires and all of the cables to try and figure out what is who and what you need to do.
Hishira Jules as well. I guess I'm gonna have to buy a new PC. And then Big Boy, hello over here on TikTok, on the TikTok site, says, do you think a pre-built PC off Best Buy is good?
We sell
it just
pre-built
depends on what
Best
you
Buy.
get.
I don't believe I can answer that question.
We sell pre-built on Best Buy, so yeah, it all just depends on what you go with. But if you go with one of ours, of course it's going to be good.
Nice. Minolta says CAA fans. What's up, Minolta? Welcome in. Minolta was head of production for Outpost Discovery. Currently still one of my besties, and good to see you, my friend. Minolta also was with SteelX when we were all there. Learning to Grow Together says, is there any benefit of an internal hard drive over an external hard drive?
So assuming they're the same capacity and same speed as far as like RPM go, if we're talking about hard disk drives, the benefit is just if it's internal, you don't got to carry it around or worry about forgetting it. So that's pretty much it right there.
But
like
then
I said,
how do you
assuming
take
same
your games
capacity, same
with
speeds. You got to take the whole thing, take your whole box.
Yeah.
Just LAN always. You remember seeing guys set up at like places at like Starbucks and places with Wi-Fi, and they have their whole rig set? I'm like, dedication, dude.
True.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Monarch Dad mentions you guys are great. I'm definitely going to check out a CLX PC. Absolutely do. Also check out our Ready to Ship, because we also have pre-built. So that's also what we call Ready to Ship over at clxgaming.com. Blixie says, what do I need to do to get a PC? Well, head over to clxgaming.com and start building your order.
Grab your mom's credit
And
card.
DJ, I want to give a +1 for pre-builds. If you need a good base, I have done that before. Get a nice system, maybe just have to buy a graphics card to upgrade or something can be a good economy option. And I agree with Minolta on that. That's how I got with my last gaming PC. I got what was good and then readjusted it with some other products.
We'll say too, if you are thinking about placing an order, we are picking up for the holidays, so get those orders in if you can. Get them in early. And like Zach mentioned, our RTSs are all ready to go, so we can ship those out same day or next day.
Let's see here. Stephen Beal, Ryzen 5 7600X, Sapphire 1700 XT, Be Quiet 1200 watt MSI B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. That is what they've got currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is a great setup for gaming, streaming, all that stuff. You've got a big enough power supply that you can add pretty much whatever you want. That power supply should last you way longer than the life of the whole system. So I'd say at least go with 16 gigs of memory, some big storage if you're planning on storing the VODs or anything like that. But other than that, you're pretty set up.
Like, I have an 8 terabyte backup drive that's just a USB. It's a USB 3.2, and everything just goes to it. At 8 terabytes will fit everything around. If I ever get more than that, I'm going to scream. So Hashima has a great question. Let's go. Okay. You said, I got a question for the CLX folks. Not exactly PC building related, but what software are you using to stream to multiple social media websites? Are you using Restream app? I don't know if they can hear Jason, but we use we do use Restream, but our primary software is vMix. Yep. So that way we've got a little bit of a balance, letting the Restream site kind of take some of that load off of the network. So V as in Victor, vMix. Victor Michael Indigo X-Ray. And then that's the other thing. TikTok does have its own software. So, and you have to use that, which is a thing. So, TikTok, you don't stop making it difficult for my people to do their job. Okay.
Kestra.
I'm not wrong. tomorrow I have to do the salmon. I'm trying to.
If you've never drank Four Locos at a Kesha party, you haven't lit. I remember we used to have Four Loco parties.
What the you just say?
I thought you were talking about the TikTok Kesha song.
Yeah, you go
it made me think of the partying days.
You have to go get
back when
oh my
a
God.
pound of glitter too, and that's your entry fee is a pound of glitter.
Oh God. Oh wow! I'm gonna not tell you what production said. So Stephen Beal says G-Skill DDR5 RAM 64 gigs 2x32 is what I'm planning on getting. Yeah. That's a great thing to talk about. So I have 64 gigs of RAM, but I have 4 16 sticks as opposed to 2 32s. So what's the balance and difference between that?
Yeah. So with RAM. If you put RAM like in a head-to-head test against each other, you got 4 sticks of 16 gig going against 2 sticks of 32 gig that are the same brand, same speed. The 4 sticks are going to perform a little bit better, but I prefer leaving 2 slots open for upgrading in the future. Now, for you, Steven, having 64 gigs, that's a great amount to have, especially for gaming streaming. It's more than what you need, so that's a good spot to be.
You like your Chrome tabs.
And the big thing, Steven, is if I want to upgrade, I have to replace all 4 sticks. I can't just get 2 32s and have 2 16s in there as well. But you have the option of going all the way up to 128, which is fantastic if you get to that point of needing it. But yeah, it's going to work well. Cosworth over on the Twitch side says, I took my original build to a LAN party back in the day, and that bish was heavy. It was an Antec P182 chassis, and that thing was triple layered with sound deadening. Oh, God. That's amazing. It's terrifying.
Especially if you're carrying a CRT monitor with it. Ooh,
yeah.
Minolta is like, 128 gigs? Tell me more. All right, right now we're going to be working with our power supply. Now, this is a Game DS Kratos M1 750 watt 80 plus bronze. So let's talk about what kind of a power supply this is, and also what different types of power supplies you can get.
Yeah, so this is a non-modular power supply, which means all the cables come pre-soldered in. So you see us going through those right now. Typically when they come out of the box, they're a little bit mixed up, so it's nice if you can separate them out before you install it. You just got more room, you can clean it up. Zach is already tying up some of the extra cables that we won't need for this build, but that way when the customer gets this, if they need these, they'll be neatly bundled. You can just clip a few zip ties and you'll have them. So if you do upgrade Plush Goddess, it's right here for you.
All right, now one thing to look at, so we've got the great shot right here. I want to point out that the motherboard, as you noticed, isn't sitting directly on the back of the PC. This is kind of what we call a 3/4 motherboard, or a case, and it's got this large box there on the bottom. Paul, can you explain why it's helpful to have that space behind the motherboard and what that big shroud is for?
So that box or that shroud, like you mentioned, DJ, that's for our power supply. So our power supply is going to be sitting inside of this, and it's going to get its own intake from the bottom of the case and shoot it out the back. So none of the heat from the power supply is going to go into the main portion of the case, which is always good. And we've got some nice RGB elements along that PSU shroud. You can see it there. Obviously, you'll see it when we turn it on, but it looks really nice with this case too.
Minolta says, random question. I just upgraded my home net to 8 gig. You guys doing like a 10 gig net card in there? And yes, that was a backdoor brag about my net speed.
Yeah! We call that flexing.
Flex. This gets a good reason to flex. Oh, that's hilarious.
2.5 gigs is the
there
motherboard.
Are plenty of motherboards. There are plenty of motherboards that have 10 gig ports on there. They're on the higher end, but you can get them.
Yeah, most higher end boards have that. That is some wicked fast internet speed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got 1 gig. I've got fiber right now, and that's great.
I remember installing
I picked up a PCIe.
port.
You picked up a PCIe card?
There you go.
So I have a question, Paul. When it comes to the more PCIes, so you've got a 10 gig PCI in there. So is that going to potentially detract from the PCIe channels or that are already on the board with the graphics card or anything else?
It won't detract from it. It probably is going to take up a PCI lane. I'm not 100% sure without knowing it, all the board, all the specs, but it's not going to like slow anything down or anything like that.
Oh, your motherboard only had 1 gig? Bro, that's gonna be wicked. To go from 56K modems to 10 gig cards is ridiculous. That's fantastic. What's also ridiculous is how much power we've gotten this little beauty right here, and this is our GPU. Our GPU is an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4068 gig, and it's amazing to see this thing in a 2-fan format. So, how does this feel? Tell us a little bit about the card.
Yeah, this is a solid card right here. It's lightweight, so we're not going to need an anti-sag bracket. We've got a single 8-pin for our power connector and dual fan for extra cooling. So this is a 4060, like we mentioned. It does have 2 display ports and 2 HDMI as our video out. So that's kind of nice. A lot of cards now just have 1 HDMI port with 3 display ports. So I like that it's got 2 of each. That way, if you've got 2 HDMI monitors, you're set.
Mendoza mentions, I had to install my PCIe, a third PCIe port. If I put it in my second slot, it takes up the width down to 8 times from 16 on my graphics card. And the 4090 needs all 16 lanes, double flex.
True. Yeah, big flex in here.
Good Lord, I want to play that soundbite from Ninja, but I know that I can't.
I saw him
because they're swearing
literally
in it.
Today. It was like King Kai from Dragon Ball Z. Like, why does he have a car when the planet's only like 8 miles around? And it was because you don't need a reason to flex. So that feels pretty relevant right now.
That's hilarious. All right. By the way, big shout out to the builder, like our actual. What are my customers in here? So OG Plush Goddess is in the house, and this is their build that they built and asked for to be built on stream. We're so excited. So yeah, Ethel, big loves and big hugs. And since you're here, Ethel, if you would like the guys to sign it, they can do that. Up to you though. Sometimes people like their stuff signed.
Don't forget to post it on Discord when you get it.
On Discord.
Oh yeah, that's right. If you've got a PC from us and you want us to see, actually, we want to see your build, to be honest. Go, OG Plus says sign it. Do it on the Shroud.
Oh, right.
Do it on the Shroud, it'll look good.
Yeah,
that's going to be awesome. Thank you. But yeah, our Discord is at discord.gg/CLX Gaming, and we've got a huge group of people that are all sorts of nuts. But if you go down on the left-hand side, you'll notice that there is a section for you to put in your... Oh, you're Monique. Got it. Okay, there we go. Let me change this over here. I told you something was different. There we go. Nope. Stop. Cancel.
He'll always be Ethel to us.
Let's do. There we go. South Carolina. There we go. Now we go. Shout out for Grandma, though.
True.
Merry Christmas indeed.
Thanks, me, Mom.
All right. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going to take a look at the wiring. Now, this is where it gets interesting because you got to make sure you pulled out the right number of... they're like... I know the word for this, and I'm just blanking on it. The little...
Got you when you're ready.
Little plates. The guide plates. PCI slot covers. There we go. See, one of these days I'll stop having strokes when we're on stream. No guarantees, though. Now, as you can see, we've got that upper PCIe slot, which is different than the lower 4. Why is that?
So that's got some metal reinforcing there for heavier cards, or really even any cards. So it's just going to be reinforced so it's more stable. With larger cards, they can droop down and cause damage to the slot. So that's why we see that top one with the silver around it.
Nice. And this is our 2 gig. Now, our 2-fan Gigabyte 4060. Now, here's a question for you. Do you feel like it's heavy enough to require a anti-sag bracket?
No, this is a pretty solid card on just the angle right here. It's fairly light on just everything around it. It's really nice light card.
Nice. OG Plush mentions big shout outs to my mom and my grandma. They wanted to support my dream as a streamer and a content creator. I love them so much. Shout out to mom and grandma. We love you both. And this is going to be fun. You're going to love it. You're
that's
gonna
awesome.
love it. I remember the time that I thought that I wanted to be a circus clown, and unfortunately, that was not something that my parents supported. And then I saw the movie It, the old one in the 90s, and I realized, yeah, I don't want to ever deal with clowns at all. Dollar Wilson, can I have it when you're done? Nope, this is going to Monique over in South Carolina. All right, now we're getting this up here. So comparatively to some of the larger cards, this needs is this a single A pin?
Correct.
Yes.
Gotcha.
It's great. Now, Monique, if you ever do upgrade many years in the future and you need extra power, there's a pigtail that we've zip tied right at the end of there, and then this power supply does have another couple of 6+2s in there. So if you do need them, they are down there.
Hey, and as long as you own this machine, you can call and ask us for support.
True. Got you.
There we go.
Life.
There we go. Okay, now we're getting this almost done. We've got everything logged in. This is going to look so good. So again, we mentioned about the positive pressure. So we've got 4 fans, 1 on the bottom and 3 on the back that are going to be blowing in, right? Then you've got your 1 exhaust and the 3 on top. Now, what makes this a positive pressure system is because the 3 on top are having to push through the radiator, which gives you a little bit of a positive pressure system. And yeah, which is good. Paul, how does that help?
So positive pressure helps because it keeps a lot of extra dust and stuff like that out of our PC. So that means we've got more intake fans than we do exhaust. So like you mentioned, DJ, we've got 4 intakes. Now we do have 4 exhausts, but we do have a couple of the exhausts on the radiator that will cause a little bit of restriction, which is why this will lean into a positive pressure mode. So all the airs that's coming in is going to go through all the right filters. So all you got to do is wipe down your filters to keep your system clean.
All right, in just a second. Actually, you know what? We're going to answer this question real fast. Would it be a bragging if I told you that I have 2 terabytes of memory in my gaming computer?
Whoa, nice. A little bit.
That seems a little bit overkill. Speaking of overkill, let's talk about how to kill those woes and take advantage of some of our Black Friday deals that are coming up this week. Let's jump over to our website, clxgaming.com, because this is how you're going to get your hands on an amazing PC. At clxgaming.com, we make it as easy as possible for you to get all the things that you might need. We've got small cases, mid-sized cases, large cases, huge cases, all with different features and different elements, some of them with various different designs. You can choose liquid cooling or AIOs. We've got Intel, we've got AMD, we've got I almost said Armada. That is not what I was going to say. Radeon and NVIDIA. So you can choose all of these things, and you don't have to worry about accidentally selecting something that's not going to be compatible. If you do select 2 things, like the graphics card and the wrong power supply, that little button on top turned yellow. This is going to basically say, look, you want that graphics card, you're going to choose a different power supply. Once you fix the problem, then it all goes away. And there you go. Now, with our systems, you can also choose to add extra hard drives. You can choose to have braided cables. What are they called? Cable mods. There we go. Thank you. There's the word. I'll get there eventually. And we have the opportunity for you to actually adjust your performance. We can upgrade your thermal paste. We can overclock your GPU, your CPU, or both. And that's amazing. And then we've got our accessories. Honestly, my favorite place in this whole site. So on our accessories page, for starters, you can get yourself a CLX shirt. You can get a CLX beanie. You can get one of these windbreakers, which I'm going to be honest, are amazing. I have 2 and I love them. Now, with that being said, there's also everything else you could ever think of that you might want for building a PC. Whether it's a keyboard, mouse, controller, headsets, mics. We've got streaming gear like Beacon Mix Creates, Beacon mics. We also have your streaming gear like Elgato capture cards in there, both internal and external. Speakers, monitors, internal display elements, routers, and we even have chairs. You could actually build everything but your desk from our website, and it would be fantastic. Now, that does sound a little bit like, oh, it's a lot to think about. Well, don't worry, because we have something that makes it a little bit easier. It's called our ready to ship section, or our RTS, which is kind of our pre-built. These are ranging for anywhere from entry level all the way up to ultra high performance. And you can see the price ranges and see what kind of things are actually included in the case. That's going to give you a good guideline as to whether or not you want to add things or take away things, or when you're building your system, take a look at something that's similar, but then give yourself the opportunity to kind of, adjust in there. So all of these have been pre-tested and built right there in the studio. Oh, not in the studio, but right there on site in our warehouse. And we've got them ready to get to a new home. And now who knows? That new home might just be yours. So without further ado, head on over to clxgaming.com for all of your future gaming needs. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and see what we're going to do for Monique in South Carolina. Let's see how this is going to look. Let's go do it.
It's time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so pretty. And again, I love this feature of the NV5. Look down at the bottom because you see that I'm pointing my screen and I realize nobody can see what I'm pointing at. There we go. Zach's got it. It's the LED on the power supply shroud, which is awesome. I love it. This looks so good. I dig it. Let's go back over one more time what's inside this amazing build for our friend Monique in South Carolina. This is a CLX Horus NV5 Black with an Intel Core i5-14600KF that's cooled by a CLX Quench 240 AIO. It's got an MSI B760 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi motherboard, 32 gigs of DDR5 5600 RAM, plus we've got the NVIDIA RTX 4060 in there as a GPU. The entire operating system is going to be on a 1 terabyte Team Group MP33 NVMe M.2. We got 8 GameDS Alos M2 fans and our GameDS Kratos M1 750 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. Nice. Now, this show is going to happen back to our normal format in 2 different parts. In just a few, we're going to take a break. When we come back, you're going to spend the afternoon with Zach as he continues to answer questions and build really cool things. And he'll come over and see me while I'm losing or dying in a game somewhere. Now, this show happens every Tuesday and Thursday starting at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern. This Thursday, however, we're not there. It's Thanksgiving. So just FYI. Firecrackers in the house. What up, dude? But otherwise, you can find us on all of our channels. That is going to be TikTok, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and Facebook every Tuesday and Thursday at that time. If for more information and to keep up to date with everything that's going on, including future events and what's being released or what's on sale, head on over to our socials. That's YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, and it's CLX Gaming. If you'd like to join an amazing community of like-minded PC enthusiasts, head on over to discord.gg/CLX Gaming, and we'd love to see your builds there, including your UCLX builds. So, with that being said, on behalf of Jason and Colin Production, Paul and Zach, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.